Welcome back all my students to Standard 7. I'm your maths teacher, TrSurekhaNilesh. Today we are going to learn chapter number 4, Angles and Pairs of Angles. In today's session we are going to see what is an angle, naming of an angle, the interior and the exterior of an angle, adjacent angles, followed by practice set 15. Let's see what is an angle.
In this video, we will understand what angles are and how they are measured. The concept of angles is very simple. To know what an angle is, we just need to know what a ray means. Look at this point. If I draw a line which starts off from a point and goes indefinitely in one direction, it is called a ray. This is one ray. And if we have another ray like this, then what we have between them is called an angle. Note that the two rays originate from a single point. So an angle can be defined as some measure between two rays. What are these two rays called? These two rays are called the arms of the angle. This arm where the angle starts is called the initial arm, and this arm where the angle ends is called the terminal arm. Both the arms of the angle meet at one point. This point is called the vertex. Two rays meet at one point to form an angle, and we also refer to it as the origin, as both the rays originate from this point. Where do we see angles in everyday life? The best example would be that of a clock. An angle is formed between the minute hand and the hour hand. Or maybe this house which has a ladder leaning on it. There is an angle formed by the ladder with the ground. Or look at this picture. There is an angle formed here between her hands. Or this car which has angles inside as well as outside. But how do we measure it?
So, from the video we come to know many things about the angles. Now this session which we are going to do right now, you can do in your textbook using a pencil. You can see this figure in your textbook. There are questions written. These questions you can fill right now, then we will cross check our answer. Students, kindly write your answers with pencil. Let's start. Write the name of the angle shown alongside. The name of the angle is angle ABC. Write the name of its vertex. Point B. Write the name of its arms. Ray BA and ray BC. Write the names of the points marked on its arms. Point A, point B, point C. Let's see our answers. I hope majority of you must have got it correct. Now let's see a video about naming of an angle and the interior and exterior of an angle.
Angles. Two rays OA and OB starting from the same end point O. The point O is called its vertex, and the rays OA and OB its arms or sides. To name an angle formed by two rays with the same initial point, we name the vertex, say O, and take 2 points A and B, one on each arm. In the figure, AOB is an angle. It is written as angle AOB or angle BOA. An angle is also named by its vertex, like angle O. It is sometimes named by a small letter or a numeral, like angle A or angle 1. Two line segments with a common end point also determine an angle at that point, like angle AOB. Let us now learn about interior and exterior of an angle. An angle divides all the points of the plane in three parts. The part or region of the plane which contains points like D, E is called exterior of the angle. The part or region of the plane which contains points like F, G is called interior of the angle. The part-like points A, O and B are on the angle.
Let's learn the interior and exterior of an angle. There's an angle given over here, angle PQR. You can see points inside the angle, that is called interior points of the angle, and the points which are outside the angle are called exterior part of the angle or the exterior points. In the plane of the figure alongside, the group of points like point N, point M, point T, point O, which are not on the arms of the angle, form the interior of angle PQR. The group of points in the plane of the angle like point G, point D, point E, point S, which are neither on the arms of the angle nor in its interior, form the exterior of angle. So इंटीरियर ऑफ एंगल मीन्स द पॉइंट्स विच आर इनसाइड, जो पॉइंट्स अंदर है एंगल के, और जो पॉइंट्स बाहर होते हैं उसे बोलते हैं एक्सटीरियर. आई होप दिस इज़ वेरी मच क्लियर टू यू. The very important topic, that is edges and angles. There's a major angle over here, students, angle BMD. Now, ray MQ is a common arm for two angles, that is angle BMQ and angle QMD, and M is their common vertex. The interior of these angles do not have a single common point. They may be said to be neighboring angles. Such angles are called adjacent angles. Take another example in this only. In the given figure, MB is a common arm. You can see ray MB. It is a common arm for angle BMD and angle BMQ. But angle BMD and BMQ are not pairs of adjacent angles. Why? Because they don't have separate interiors. So, adjacent angles have one common arm and the other arm lies on opposite sides of common arm. They have common vertex. Adjacent angles have separate interiors. Now, to know more about it, let's see a video.
Do you know what adjacent angles are? Look at this image. You've seen this? Now let me first give you the conditions for two angles to be adjacent. Listen carefully. They should have a common vertex, they should have a common arm, and the other arms of the angles are on the opposite sides of the common arm. Now let's examine this figure. Look at the two angles AOB and BOC. Let's test for the first condition. These two angles have a common vertex, that is O, fine. So the first condition is satisfied. Second condition, they have a common arm OB, right? So the second condition is satisfied as well. And the other arm have to be on the opposite sides of the common arm. So OA and OC, as you can see, are on the opposite sides of the common arm OB. So these two angles, AOB and BOC, are adjacent angles. Let's look at one more example. You see this figure? Now in this case, MLN and NLO, these are two angles which are adjacent angles. Let me test for the first condition. Common vertex is L. LN is the common arm, that is the second condition, and the other arm, LM and LO, lie on the opposite side of the common arm LN. So these two angles are adjacent angles as well.
So students, you must have understood what is adjacent angles. Adjacent angles in Hindi, I always say it as bajuwala. The angles which are next to each other and which have common vertex, common arm and separate interiors are said to be adjacent angles. So two angles which have a common vertex, a common arm and a separate interiors are said to be adjacent angles. Let's start with practice set 15. You have to do this in your notebook. Question number 1. Observe the figure and complete the table for angle AWB. There are some points in the interior and exterior and some on the arms of the angle. We need to fill the table accordingly. The first question asked over here is points in the interior, points in the exterior and points on the arms of the angles. Answer. Points in the interior R, C, N, X. Points in the exterior T, U, Q, V, Y. Points on the arms of the angles A, W, G, B. Question number 2. Name the pairs of adjacent angles in the figures below. There are two figures given. We need to write the pairs of adjacent angles. You need to remember 3 points in this, students. Common vertex should be there, common arm should be there and separate interiors. Answer. Two angles which have a common vertex, a common arm and a separate interiors are said to be adjacent angles. The pairs of adjacent angles are angle ANB and angle BNC, angle BNC and angle ANC, angle ANC and angle ANB. And from the second figure, it is angle PQR and angle PQT. Question number 3. Are the following pairs adjacent angles? If not, state the reason. Answer. Two angles which have a common vertex, a common arm and a separate interiors are said to be adjacent angles. In the first pair, that is angle PMQ and angle RMQ, M is a common vertex and MQ is a common arm. Therefore, angle PMQ and angle RMQ are adjacent angles. Second pair, angle RMQ and angle SMR have a common vertex M, but they don't have a common arm. Therefore, these are not pairs of adjacent angles. Third pair, angle RMS and angle RMT have common vertex M, but here also they don't have a common arm. Therefore, these are also not pairs of adjacent angles. Last pair, angle SMT and angle RMS, M is a common vertex, SM is a common arm. Therefore, angle SMT and RMS are adjacent angles. Thank you, students. Stay safe, stay blessed. Let's meet in the next session.